Hello and welcome back to the Gaming Tech channel, everybody. We're live on YouTube and Twitch, and we're back with Forza Horizon 6. Today we're going to be starting the session with buying a new car. Something that we don't have already. And I'm thinking to go with the Japanese car here to drive on these beautiful Japanese streets. And I think the R34 is going to be a really good option. The most iconic GTR from the year 2000. So let's go for it. This thing is just timeless, you know? It just never gets old. And of course, we're gonna get it in blue. Although this color is also nice. But yeah, we're gonna get it in blue. Wow, this car is 200k. Not a problem. We're still gonna get it. Alright. Got the RB26 in here, along with the all-wheel drive system and a 6-speed manual from factory. This is one beautiful engine. Twin turbos from stock. That red valve cover just looks so beautiful. You got a strut bar on there from the factory. It's just a nice looking engine bay. I mean, there's barely any space in there. It's been a while since we have looked at this interior. Let's see what it looks like. Alright. Nice and simple, but still really nice. I mean, gets the job done, right? Trunk is alright. This is a right-hand drive version. A true Japanese spec. The gauge cluster is really nice. Everything is nice. I know I said that word so many times. But yeah, it's just a really nice car. It's funny that the speed only goes up to 180 kilometers. Which is like 120 miles or 110 miles, I believe. Something like that. But yeah. Well, I just noticed we got a CD and a DVD player. So we got the DVD player up top and the CD player at the bottom and a cassette player. Is that what the little slot is for? Yeah, I think you got it all. Maybe you can play movies in that little screen. But I think that screen is to show you all the stuff that's going on with the car. Again, nothing too fancy, but gets the job done. Looks like we got some dual piston Brembos in the rear and 4 pistons in the front. Okay. Xeon headlights. A functional vent. Or you could say that's a functional intake. Is that an intake? Because, yeah, it's pulling in air from the exterior. And where is it directing it to? Just like in the overall engine bay, or is that going straight to the intake? I can't really tell. I mean, I think it's getting directed to the intake and just like to cool the engine bay temp overall. It's doing both maybe. I love these taillights. The round taillights. Okay, let's get it started. I thought the game was gonna crash there. We had a little hiccup. But we're good. Let's take a photo right here before we start driving. I kind of want to get this angle, but there are those cars in the back and they're on top of each other. Well, what the hell is this? What am I looking at, bro? We got this Camaro inside a 911 GT3 RS. Yeah, let's stay away from that. Back to our GTR here. Alright, we gotta take this photo on an angle so those cars are not visible, you know. I don't like looking at that mess. I think this will be a good shot. Just right there.
You really have the photographer's eye. Keep it up.
So even though we can't see those cars in the photo, we still got the credit for them. Alright, now let's see what this car drives like stock. I mean, we have driven this car so many times in the last Forza, and the Forza before, and the Forza before, and the Forza before, but here we are with the R34 in Forza Horizon 6. Almost freaking crashed it, bro. This is one smooth engine. What's happening to the frame rate? It keeps dropping. This all-wheel drive system is awesome. On that little screen that we have, the digital screen, we got some sort of temperature, and I believe that's the engine temp. The coolant temp, if you want to call it. Plus we got the boost gauge. Looks like we got about 0.5 bar of pressure. Would that be 7 psi or 14 psi? This car is geared beautifully, you know. So the BMW inline sixes are pretty. They're also pretty smooth, but they don't make the same sound as this. I was trying to think of a different engine, but no. The BMW engines are also smooth, but when it comes to sound and smoothness at the same time, this wins. There's a tiny bit of understeer, but nothing you can't fix with a little power slide, you know, or just by pulling the handbrake and getting the rear end to slide out. You just gotta counter it with some oversteer, basically. So right now this is a B-class car. It's at the end of B-class, so just a few more mods will easily put this car in A-class. Alright, we're gonna take this thing on the highway and just check out the top speed. My guess is 160. Let's see if it can do that. So it has less than 300 horsepower and around 300 torque. We'll check on that later, but first we're gonna do a top speed run. When these cars were first originally released in Japan, they were limited. Not in terms of like speed, but in terms of horsepower. I think they also had a speed limiter on it as well, but you know, people can easily remove those. But the horsepower was limited by the factory. These engines actually made a little more. These are underrated cars. I think it had something to do with the regulations and stuff like that. Wow, we're already at 156? 160? I definitely underestimated this car. I think we'll be able to do like 175 here. We just don't have enough room. In a straight line on a flat surface, I feel like 160 to 165 is probably the best this car can do. But on a slight downhill, we might hit 170. So maybe my estimate was right. We should be able to pull 175. Not bad. We never got to see the 6th gear, so That's alright. That gear's probably just for highway driving anyway. Let's check out if the 6th gear is really long, like most Mustangs and Camaros with the 6-speed. So honestly, the 6th gear is not that long. So if you shift at 4 RPM, 4000, it does drop 1000 RPM, but we also have to take in consideration that our RPM band goes up to 9000 RPM, right? It's a really wide RPM band, so dropping 1000 RPM on a engine that revs up to 9000 is not that much, especially going from 5th to 6th. I mean, a stock engine that revs to 9000 RPM and without a flat plane crank. Pretty sure this does not have a flat plane crank. And I'm also pretty sure that that's only used for engines in a V configuration, not an inline. Because in inline, I feel like you don't really need that. I mean, the engine is already balanced. I could be wrong there. Correct me if I'm wrong. The crank is already balanced in a way, if you know what I mean. That you don't need a flat plane crank. But when you go with the V design, the weight of the crank gets offset. And that's why they go with the flat plane crank in order to make the engine rev higher. But I'm pretty sure that's not the case in inline engines. But again, if I'm wrong there, feel free to correct me. This is just a nice car, man. I know I keep saying that, but how did they come up with this design back in 2000? 26 years ago. This car's on another level, I swear. Okay, let's see what we can do with this car. We got a body kit available for this car. They're famous or big in the car scene, but for some reason, I've never heard of them. And honestly, I like this body kit. It's nothing too crazy. The rear fenders stay the same. We do get a different bumper with a huge exhaust tip, which I'm not against, because it keeps the it retains the similar look, similar body lines, but just adds a little more spice, like a built-in diffuser in the bumper. I like that. And I like also we do get the track width widened with the body kit. The side skirt also changes. It stays the same. It just like expands. It just extends more towards the bottom of the car, so makes the car look lowered, even though we haven't lowered the car yet. And the front fenders get the heat extractor or the air extractor vent, so no air gets trapped inside the fender at high speeds. And the brakes can stay nice and cool as well. And same thing with the front bumper. Looks pretty stock, just more aggressive. Although I like the stock bumper. I mean, stock bumper is nice. Looks more authentic with the stock bumper, especially with those clear signals. Are those the signal lights, or are they daytime running lights? The signal lights might be built into the headlights there at the corner of the headlights. This might be just your daytime running lights. I don't know if they're fog lights. I mean, the fog lights wouldn't be placed that high up. But yeah, not a bad looking body kit. But I think I'm going to keep it stock here. I'm not against the stock look. Looks pretty decent. So this car is almost in A class. It's at the end of B class. I think we should max it out in A class and do some online racing with it. So as it sits, it's making 281 horsepower, 289 foot-pounds of torque. 3,439 pounds is the weight, so it's not super light or super heavy. It's all right. So we are gonna do weight reduction on it, which also helps with the weight distribution. So right now it's 55% in the front and 45 in the rear. And we're not going to go all out with weight reduction because that really bumps us up in A class. So we're just going to go with the sport weight reduction here, which still sheds almost 300 pounds. So that's not bad. So 0 to 60 from stock is 4.5, which is really good for a car that was built in 2000. And yeah, the claim top speed is 175. So I guess my prediction was right in a way, but we couldn't reach 175. But my other prediction was that this car will be able to do like 160 to 165. And that's what it actually did on a straight line. So I guess I was right there. But again, that doesn't really mean anything. Because, top speed, like the way you hit your top speed can be different. If there's a slight downhill or an uphill, that will, um, give you different results basically. So, but yeah, we were in the ballpark of 165 to 175, so that's not bad. So we're gonna make the car light. Get rid of 296 pounds, almost 300 pounds, which will improve everything. It's gonna improve the car all across the board there. We're gonna go with better brakes. The best brakes possible. And since this is an all-wheel drive car, we're gonna give it the best suspension, which is the race suspension. Race springs and dampers. It already looks so much better. I'll be honest with you, I like the stock wheels. I know we could probably save some weight by going with lighter wheels, but let's just retain the stock look. I like it. And I don't know if you should make it more stiff. It's already pretty stiff, and I don't think it has any body roll or anything like that. So I'm not gonna get any chassis reinforcement or any anti-roll bars. We're just gonna stick with the brakes, suspension, and the weight reduction. when it comes to the tires, I am not gonna go all out with them because I don't really want to max out this car just by getting the tires alone. I want to add more power. So maybe we should add power first and add the tire compound later. Yeah, we'll do that. Let me check out the turbo options for this car, the aspiration options. So we can go from the twin turbo to a single turbo, which is going to give us more horsepower, but we're going to lose a little bit of torque down low because it's going to take more time for the single turbo to spool up. But when the boost comes on, it's going to come on hard. So we gain 85 horsepower by just doing the turbo. Let's check out the cams. So if you do the cams, we're gonna gain 83 horsepower, but not as much torque as we would with a single turbo. So I think I'm just gonna do the turbo here, because once we do the cam, it's gonna throw off our gearing, because the engine's gonna rev higher. So let's just get the turbo and stick your tires. Why is your launch so bad? It says the launch is only a 4.0. That's just a rating. I mean, doesn't really mean much. Our 0 to 60 is pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna go with street tire compound here because we're not running that much power. I think we can get away with having street tires. But I am going to add a better transmission. Oh wow. Our launch gets so much better with the 10 speed. With the 7, 8, and 9, it's like, it's good, but when you go to a 10 speed, our launch just shoots up to a 9.2. But our handling goes down. That makes no sense. Oh, is that because we're adding weight? We're not adding that much weight. That's like 18 pounds, basically. It's all good. 18 pounds isn't gonna hurt the car. So yeah, we're gonna ditch the stock 6-speed manual and go for the 10-speed here. What's gonna be your 0 to 60? So again, on paper, the 0 to 60 doesn't really improve by that much, but the launch rating goes up. So I mean, I'll take that, I guess. Let's just put on a better clutch as well, and better drive shaft, and better differential. A race differential. We still have a little more room. Let me just check out what the stock width is for the tires. So we got 245s in the front and 245s in the rear. Okay, we got a square setup. I like that. I'm not gonna adjust the track width. I know we do have the option to adjust that, but I'm just gonna wait on that for now. I'm gonna add more power. Yeah, let's add a second mod to this car because we still have a little bit of room. A flywheel would be nice, I mean. But I want to add something that adds power. I'm just looking for the best option possible here. Too bad we can't get the race exhaust. It puts the car in S1. Wow, it was chopping. It was chopping without a cam. I guess the stock motor, the stock engine chops. It likes to chop. Okay. Let's just add a racing fuel system because it puts the car at its maximum in A class 699. Can't really do much to it now. Can we? No, not really. Alright, we can do the sport flywheel. We'll save some weight there. Alright, this is the best we can do in A class. We jumped up a class. Went from B to A. This car is already almost maxed out in B, and now it's maxed out in A. We have lowered the weight, added more horsepower, 102 horsepower. Got rid of like 300 something pounds of weight. Made it more grippier, more downforce. I mean, not more downforce, but just more lateral force. Lateral gravitational force, right? It's just gonna be hugging the road more, basically, in simple words. All right, we have done our stage 1, whatever you want to call it, stage 1 mods. I like the gearing. It's just as good as the stock 6-speed, but now we'll have a little more top end. Always in the right gear. As long as we can shift fast enough. And not do any money shifts like that. Alright, let's do some online racing with it. Let's try to do a street race with A-class cars. So how much horsepower do we have now? Let me double check. 383 and 393 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 weight, 3,081. Not bad. Alright, let me check the weight distribution. Oh, sorry, not the weight distribution. The power distribution between the front and the rear axle. So from factory, it's set at 86%. So only 14% power is going to the front. That's good. I like that. It's almost like a rear-wheel drive car with the benefit of all-wheel drive. We're not going to be losing, you know, grip. Doing some launches or going around some turns. But it's gonna behave mostly like a rear-wheel drive car. I kind of want to make the gearing a little longer, especially for the first few gears. Yeah, it's a little too short. We need to go back quick, quick. All right, that's good, that's good, that's good. There we go. Out of all the cars that we have in A-Class, this is not the fastest, but it's iconic. It's got something going for it. It's a freaking legend. That's what it is. We're going to be racing against a M2 comp. Is that the new M2 comp? Or the last gen? That's the last gen. That M2 definitely has more power. Not bad. We could definitely improve this car. That was a bad mess up. What this car needs now is more grip and more power. We got a right platform here. I like the engine. I like the all-wheel drive. But we just need to add stickier tires and add more power. Let's check out the wheel spin first. Okay. Now back to the garage and
Welcome back, X.
let's see what we're gonna do here. Let me check out the engine swap options. I mean, I really don't want to swap out this RB26. I just want to see what's available here. Oh, 3.5-liter V8 twin turbo. I still haven't figured out which car this engine came from. .918 Spider. R35. And the GR-GT engine. Yeah, I'm still curious about this 3.5-liter V8 twin turbo. I can't think of any car that uses that. But it's here because, you know, a car does uses it. Alright, we're gonna keep the RB. What if I add the sport tires and add the weight back in? It looks like I can do that. So, car is gonna be at the stock weight, but we're gonna have the benefit of more grip. And it gives us a little bit extra room to add more power. Wait, what happens if I play around with the arrow? I like this hood. So if we add arrow to the car, it'll make our rating go down. Well, only with the rear wing. With the front arrow, it actually makes it go up a bit. Let's check out these bumper options. So here are all the wings. And a no wing option. So it looks like we can do a lot to this car without putting the body kit on here. We can add the top secret body parts. And of course we got the Dolok wing to go along with the Dolok body kit. Or you can go with top secret bumpers and side skirts. I think I'm more interested in the Forza stuff here because Adding aero is not only going to make the rating of the car go down, it's going to add downforce. And that's going to be really important when we're doing, some high-speed racing. Plus, it gives us a little extra room to add a little extra power to the car. So we have given up the weight reduction for better tires and aero. Can we do the stage 1 weight reduction? Let's check. It's possible, but we're gonna have to downgrade something else on the car. Maybe we'll get rid of the flywheel. I mean, yeah, I guess that's doable, right? Yeah, we'll get the stage 1 weight reduction, the street weight reduction, and put the stock flywheel back on. So we can't really upgrade the front tires, but looks like we can upgrade the rear tires. I mean, this car is all-wheel drive, but let's not forget we're sending most of our power to the rear. So I think we should definitely upgrade the rears. We'll go with the 285s here. Actually, let's just max it out. We'll get the 295s, which brings the rating down again because it's kind of slowing down the car by adding extra rolling resistance. And that gives us more room to add more horsepower. Or I guess if you can't add horsepower, we can add a lighter flywheel. Yeah, we'll do that. We can add a race flywheel. Okay. So this is our new setup. We're still within A class, which is kind of surprising. We had to give up our weight reduction, but we have added the stage 1, the street weight reduction. Plus we have added better tires. We have sport tires instead of street. We have added downforce. We have added more grip to the rear tires. I mean, we have added width to the rear tires, resulting in more grip because, better compound, more width, and more downforce. So overall, the handling should improve. I mean, as you can see on the paper, we have increased the weight, but we are going to be making more downforce, more grip, and that should result in better handling. We might have slowed down the car a tiny bit, but it should drive a lot better. Plus, the upside is that the car is still in A class. So we're not going to be competing against supercars and hypercars like how we would in S1. Alright, the car's starting to slow down around 140 miles per hour because of the aero. So we need to adjust the gearing. So now our top speed is only 166 miles per hour. But I think that's sufficient because, you know, this is only an A-class car after all. Alright, we gotta back down on the aero. I think it's a little too much. Let's see how it takes this corner. Not bad. Not bad for an A-class car. This, with just your regular sport tires, these are not your semi-slicks or slicks. Alright, I need to decrease the downforce in the rear. On the front it seems fine, but it's still a little too much on the rear. Right about there. I feel like we can get away with a little less downforce in the rear. The front really seems planted, and that's good. Yeah, we're just gonna go down all the way and leave the front the way it is. I think we're ready for round 2. Let's try to do some street racing, or actually no, let's do some road racing this time. Not bad. Let's do this. Yeah, we got beat by the M2 at the last moment. With a difference of like 0.1 second, I believe. The M2 had some top end, you know. He got us. Wait, what? Car started levitating. I lost gravity. Getting beat by a Prius? Are you serious? overall, we got the 5th position in the championship, so right in the middle. Alright, this car is good, but I kind of want to make it better. It's decent,
Welcome back, X.
but it was having trouble keeping up with the newer cars, despite our mods and extra power and all the stuff that we did to it. So maybe we should convert it to S1? I mean, the competition just gonna keep on getting tougher and tougher as we increase the class of this car, so we might get the same result in S1 that we did in A. So kind of want to do something different here. What if I add the body kit and convert the car to rear-wheel drive? And add the 3.5-liter V8 twin turbo. Alright, so this is gonna be a weird build. Super weird build. We're getting rid of the iconic RB26 and we're getting rid of the all-wheel drive system. The really exceptional all-wheel drive that this car comes with from factory. We're getting rid of that. So we're getting rid of the two major components of this car that it's known for. And yeah, we're making a rear-wheel drive with a V8 twin turbo, but it's a really small V8, only 3.5 liter V8 twin turbo. This is going to be our first time using that engine. So let's see what this car is gonna do now, because I have no idea what it's gonna be like to drive and how it's gonna handle. So let's test it out. So we're increasing the power, decreasing the weight and the grip, but we don't know how it's gonna do. Maybe it's gonna be really bad or it's gonna get better. But it's still within A class, so we'll get to race other regular cars in A class. By regular, I mean sports cars and not hypercars or supercars. Alright, we have no grip until the end of 5th gear, so we need to adjust our gear ratios here. And we're gonna add some aero back in the rear now that this car has a lot more power. Alright, time to do some more online racing with our third setup of the day. Is it the third? Pretty sure it's the third. Feels like it's a lot more fun to drive now. It sure feels less balanced, but in terms of fun, that has gone up. We got a DNF coming our way, but that's okay. It happens. It happens. Kind of sad, but it is what it is. After all, this setup wasn't our best setup so far. Yeah, it's fun, but fun normally doesn't mean that it's gonna be the best thing for us or the car or the game. Yeah. So let's just back out from the queue and work on the setup a little more, because I'm not done yet. I'm not done. I'm not giving up on this car. I think we're gonna put this car in S1. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the same result because we're gonna be competing against much faster cars. But I still want to try. Can't give up without trying, you know. I mean, we're not giving up at all. We're just having fun. And yeah, we can't think about it too
Welcome
much.
back, X.
Just gotta go with the flow here. We're just gonna keep on improving and keep on going and keep on enjoying. So the number one thing that we need to work on is gonna be the grip. We don't have enough grip, you know. And we are gonna get the most grip if we go with the stickiest tires. So we're gonna go with the slick race tires. And we're gonna go with the widest in the front and the rear. We might need to add the all-wheel drive system back in. Yep, we're gonna do that. Alright, I'm getting rid of the wing. And you know what? We're also gonna get rid of the body kit. This is gonna be our fourth setup. It's gonna be different than all the setups we have done so far. So this time we're going with the stickiest compound, and we have added the all-wheel drive back, but we're keeping the 3.5-liter V8 twin turbo, and we're also getting rid of the aero. And looks like we have the sport weight reduction here that, yeah, that's going to be helpful. So yeah, we're going to be keeping that. Going to keep the car nice and light. All right, our fourth setup of the day. We're going to make the car lighter. Power is going to stay the same, but it's more than stock, of course. And the grip is going to go up. So I know 550 horsepower is not a lot when you're competing in S1 class, but we're going to have a pretty grippy platform. And there is no aero in the car, so it's not going to slow it down. So we're relying on all the grip that's produced by the tires. There's no additional downforce that's keeping the car on the road. Car feels pretty fast. Let me double check. Yeah, the gearing is a little off. We need to make the gearing longer. Look at that top speed. 232 with just 550 horsepower. We're definitely doing something right here. Alright, I'm going to be sending more power to the rear. I actually took that turn really well. Okay, so now we're back to some road racing, but this time we're going to be in S1. Yeah, now we're going to be competing against some proper supercars, maybe even hypercars. Alright, I'm gonna drink some water before the race gets started here. I'll be right back. Yeah, we're racing some serious cars here. Not bad. We were right there with all these fast cars. Bro in the M2 got a DNF, but that's okay. Wow. You only had a second left there, maybe even less than that. We got 4 rewards. Let's check them out. Wheel spin and a super wheel spin. And now time for the super wheel spin. Alright, I think it's time to call it a night. We had some fun with this car. Honestly, I expected a little better, but it did alright. That's just the thing with these older cars, you know. No matter how much you modify them, you're always gonna have some trouble keeping up with the newer cars. Especially when it comes to the handling. In a straight line, you can make these cars pretty fast. But it was alright. I mean, we kept up with the other fast cars, we just couldn't beat them. So it is what it is. In the next session, we'll try something else out. A different car, a different setup, maybe some different type of race. So stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for joining, everybody. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.